You can spend hundreds of hours in trying to get the opportunity, but what actually happens when you walk into that listing lounge room, if you don't literally hit the right buttons at exactly the right minute, you are so out of that listing presentation, it doesn't matter what you say at that point, you've already lost it. And this is such an important point of what great agents do, is they really think about direct pitching to the client. Now, we know that no one really cares about when your estate agency began and ultimately what was kind of the philosophy about what it is that you do, or in addition to that, how many awards that you've probably won. The reality of it is that what customers really want is they want you to get to their particular problem and learn how to go to solve it. So what we do is we have a look at this situation, and direct pitching is about thinking that the customer actually wants to get to sold. Now, why is this such an important part? Well, we're now seeing that days on market are starting to balloon out. Auction clearance rates are literally lower than they were 2 years ago. We're in a position that now all of a sudden not every property is actually selling. And for the first time ever, we're starting to see expired listings actually being a lead source for real estate agents. So what is it that you do in your proprietary approach in how you take properties to market that ultimately can get those particular owners sold? It's not just off market and on, it's ultimately a process of what you actually do to really make sure that you're giving them the right price feedback, the right sale methodology, the right marketing advice, so they can do exactly what they need to do in order to get to sold. Now, once we've got to sold, the next most important thing is that did we get them to sold and maximize that sale price? What you've got to remember is that on a principal place of residence, every single time that you sell a property and you ultimately get them an extra $1, that's another $2 that they didn't have to earn at work and pay tax on. And this is a really important conversation. The difference of an extra $5,000 in the pocket of your sellers is ultimately $10,000 they would have had to have earned. So what do you do in your proprietary approach, again, in order to be able to go to maximize that sale price? And this is a really important thing to understand your negotiation and sales methodology approach. Beyond that, it's ultimately about minimizing the risk. During the course of a campaign, there are so many things that can go wrong. And if you're in a position that you haven't checked out that pool compliance, or maybe in addition to that, you didn't recommend to your clients to get a pest and building report, or in addition to that, you didn't get your contract organized, and that's different in states, territories, and countries that we work in, then ultimately you can be left with the buyer wanting to buy and not being able to complete the deal whilst you wait for a solicitor to do the paperwork. What's critical here is that you make sure that you identify all of the different areas where there are issues, resolve those particular issues up front, get everything ready to go, so the moment that literally you go to take that particular property to market, you can really go to get the result. And the skill here is critical to be able to make sure that you minimize the risk during the course of a campaign. The final one is ultimately to go to make it easy. And this is an interesting thing. One of the lead agents that we get to work with, he said, Josh, out of the 260 properties that they actually transacted last year, 260 of those properties had a mini renovation or were painted and were all professionally styled before they actually went to market. This is kind of crazy, right? Because I see on other real estate agents' Instagram posts and websites, the 5 top tips of how to present your home for sale, when this agent's actually doing it for the client as a part of their fee for service. This is critical, where you've got to get really clear about what it is that you actually do to get your pitch to land and to really make it something the customer goes, this person is seriously good, and that's why I want to use them. Mr. and Mrs. Owner, would it be okay if I show you what we do to get you sold, how we're going to maximize your sale price, how we're going to reduce your risk, and how we're going to make it seriously easy for you during the course of the sales campaign? I reckon with those 4 sentences, you've all of a sudden just got the attention of the customer. They're literally in your hands, ready to sign.